consensus.
Okay.
Some people do think it might be very nice, and if you become smart enough, you're always nice. But it's not a guarantee. Essentially, we have this gamble, and the problem is we're betting humanity, survival of humankind in the line. So even if it is 1 in a million chance that it will be unfriendly, I think it's still worth doing everything we can to make sure it's safe and secure.
Well, generally, things like to be secure, and from what I've seen, maybe just because the media likes to run with it, it does seem like there's a consensus that it would be aggressive, but perhaps that's been put out there just because it's a better headline.
It makes for much better movies for Hollywood. If Terminator was about a nice robot who babysits, it wouldn't be popular.
What about the issue that the cutting edge of AI, from my research, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is in weapons, ground combat robots, artificially intelligent or semi-artificially intelligent, autonomous killer drones? I mean, those are already in the sky. You
are absolutely correct, and the reason is it's sponsored by military, by DARPA, and they have a lot of money available for this type of research. We as professors have to spend a lot of time writing grants trying to get maybe 100,000. They have millions at their disposal. They can do essentially anything if they see a promising line of research. So yes, those technologies are incredible, and they are most likely to be one of the first to get to the point of human-like intelligence.
Well, here's my point. You know, they call them disruptive technologies, as you know, but for some of the new listeners, they didn't tell us for close to 30 years about the B-2 bomber. So it's really 1960s technology they told us about in the late 80s. And from my government sources, they say cloning, genetic engineering, nanotech, the sky's the limit. They say that there's lots of pure research going on that we couldn't even comprehend right now.
It's quite possible, especially in genetic engineering, that there is some unknown, unpublished research going on. Again, with AI technologies, it's somewhat different as with anything in computer science. It's such a global market, like, for example, with cryptography. All of cryptography is based on the idea that no one knows how to factor large numbers. If there was someone who could do it somewhere, they would have complete control over internet, over commerce, over all the transactions. So our security is based on us thinking that we know exactly what others are capable of doing. And AI is sort of similar in that respect. We feel that if someone had those technologies, they would exhibit them already.
I think the West exhibits a lot of secret technology under the surface. I see a lot of ripples coming out of the West of a lot of secret programs.
I'm sorry, can you repeat it? I kind of lost
Doctor, I'm saying I see a lot of ripples on the surface that exhibits evidence of a lot of secret technology development in the computer science area coming out of the West.
Can you give me specific examples?
Yeah, we're about to go to break, and I could, I mean, there's just so many. Look at the weapon systems. Look at energy weapons. I mean, I understand it's very competitive, so it's always being raced out to dominate the market.
There are definitely new weapons being developed. I'm just specifically talking about computer science and intelligent technology. My area of expertise, I really don't know much about other types of...
No, I understand. Well, when we come back, I want you to tell us what you think is most important and ideas for fail-safes. Long segment coming up. PhD in computer science and engineering, expert in programming, forensics, biometrics, artificial intelligence, genetic algorithms, you name it. Dr. Roman Yampolskiy is our guest. And Professor, I know people can go to Louisville.edu and find you. What's the best way for people to read your paper or to look at the important research you're doing?
A lot of my papers are available for free on the internet. Just search for my name. You'll find lots of PDFs. If you want to email me, my address is posted on my website. I'm happy to send a paper to anyone interested.
Well, you're very gracious to spend time with us. I've got a lot of questions I could ask, but if you had 10 minutes to talk to 3 million people, which you are, what would you impart to them about why this is important? And what would you say to government if they were listening? Because you better believe government's listening and corporations are listening. I'm not tooting our horn, but we have Sauron's attention here. What would you say to the system about your research and your research that I see that is concurred with in a lot of other scholarly papers as well?
I would say it's very important to realize we're not talking about science fiction. This is not just Hollywood movies. This is now reality. Those things will happen in the next 20, 30 years, most likely. So we need to be fully prepared for them. I personally proposed a number of ideas which can help reduce negative effects from those technologies. For example, just like when we deal with human cloning, we have restrictions on research, we banned most of it. Similar restrictions should be in place for developing general artificial intelligence. Again, I'm not talking about just assistive technologies, but programs capable of completely dominating human intelligence in any domain. I also proposed the main topic of my paper was on confining those technologies, so especially in early stages of development, then we're just trying to create those baby AI systems which are learning and growing. It's important to have them restricted so we can study them properly, so they cannot very quickly develop into full-blown super-intelligent systems and essentially escape into the wild like happens with many computer viruses. I don't know if I have 10-minute speech prepared. I'm much better with questions.
No. I just want to hear what you have to say. What about people like Ray Kurzweil and others when they just say, throw open our arms, do whatever the AI says, merge with it, and then we'll just merge with it? That right there, saying plug it directly into our brain, all these new video game technologies I know you study and look at are already interfacing us with it. We're already basically letting the use of calculators destroy arithmetic, word processors destroying spelling. I mean, I see machines helping humans in many ways, but also more and more turning people into basically jellyfish blobs who are in a trance state, a different varying degrees of mass narcolepsy. Brainwaves are lowering. People are in more of a dreamlike state. The television, all of it. I mean, I already see just general primitive technology really causing problems in society. And then you've got the problem of robotics replacing humans' needs. Well, then what are all the humans going to do? And Bill Joy says, well, the elite are having discussions just about, orderly getting rid of people. There are a lot of other bioethics reports saying, really do some draconian things to humanity. So we're not just fighting with the machines, we're fighting with the intelligentsia and the elite that see the general public as animals. The general public are playing into that, acting like animals. I mean, this just all feeds together.
You are correct to point out that only a few people are actually shaping this debate right now. Kurzweil is probably #1 person who's known for promoting Singularity, for running Singularity University. There is really no public debate, and one of the things I would love to see as a result of this interview is more awareness by the public of those issues, where we do have on the next referendum not just questions should human cloning be legal, but also questions about intelligent technologies and how dangerous they can be.
Here's an example. A truly artificially intelligent, self-aware, uncontained system in a matter of days could take over the entire global stock market and basically own most of the assets of the world. There's an example. Or it could do the Terminator version and launch drone attacks with nuclear weapons or neutron bombs and kill the population. Or, I mean, it's just, there's no telling what could happen out of this. I mean, what are different scenarios for a machine takeover that you've researched?
You are right. No one knows exactly what's going to happen, but the scenarios range from complete extermination of humankind to sort of this technological communism, I wish to say. Maybe we'll have robots doing all the labor, creating a lot of wealth, because if you can cheaply copy intelligence, cheaply copy 20 years of education, you really have a lot of opportunities for producing products much more affordably. So it could go either way. My hope is that we can develop technologies to control those systems and benefit from them. Obviously, technology has been huge in our successful emergence as a superpower. It's important to continue being a superpower, but we have to be very, very careful in just how we get to that point.
Well, this is like Prometheus. This is the fire of the gods. And a lot of people think we're going to become the gods or God. And boy, that is the famous last words. But imagine the power of genetic engineering, nanotech, fused with artificial intelligences. We could just pretty much immediately have whole space fleets, you name it, mining operations. The problem is it immediately cuts off humans. I mean, I see all these movies where humans are out exploring space. You know, it's already to the point where it's all going to be robot. It's all going to be drone. And so I mean, I don't really see many paths where this doesn't actually shut us off. And we get walled off by the computers if they're nice enough to keep us around.
You're right. You mentioned Bill Joy. He wrote an article saying, does the future really need us? And that's the big question. If those technologies continue on the path they are, if we are as successful as it looks like we're going to be, then really the place of humanity is in question. If you have machines thousands, if not millions times more intelligent, more capable, then we do become pets for them. I mean, we might still have some control, but it changes society in fundamental ways. Do you still need college education if you still can compete with an intelligent machine? Do you still need, different personal improvements if machines can re-engineer your DNA and make you live longer, healthier lives? It really raises a lot of unanswered questions, and I would love to see some national debate on those.
Doctor, I'd like to see some debate about that as well, but I don't see the so-called elite acting like they're concerned about anything. I mean, they're too into strutting around like peacocks and going to balls 5 nights a week and playing golf. And more I realize that they're following some 500-year-old, or older Byzantine model of corporate empire, and don't understand that they're holding either our total empowerment in their hands or our total destruction. And using my little supercomputer, my brain, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but my gut, which is really just a subconscious analysis of all the factors, tells me danger, Will Robinson.
Well, it's also possible that technology will be a great equalizer. Computers are now affordable, cheap, and they benefit everyone, not just the richest people, most powerful people. So similar things can happen with intelligent technologies. If everyone has access to them, if they are affordable, everyone can greatly benefit from it. So we might have much better situation in terms of...
I agree with you. Look at how the internet has empowered the rise of the new media.
Exactly. And it completely changed media in the process. I mean, now anyone can be a journalist, have a blog. Censorship becomes almost impossible. Look at what it's doing with Arab Spring. I mean, Twitter, Facebook. So those technologies will change our world very quickly, and we don't really know how the final product will look.
Sure. My concern, Doctor, and again, we're talking about artificial intelligence basically enslaving or overthrowing or taking over humanity in the near future, and there's really no debate about it outside of science fiction circles, but we are 2012. It is Buck Rogers here. Again, I like nuclear power, but the way it's implemented, the corporations are so corrupt that they don't care if it's blowing up and radiating everybody. So that's my concern. Yes, this could all obviously empower us, but as you've said, there doesn't seem to be any thinking it through, and therein lies the danger.
Right. The problem is how quickly those technologies change. I mean, a new iPhone comes out every year, but really that's not the measure of it. The progress is made in algorithms and hardware to the point where we don't have infrastructure to adapt to this change. Our legislative process is very slow. To pass a new law might take a few years, whereas this new technology might appear overnight.
Now, you talk about in the development of these systems, from your research, then we're going to go to calls, what type of current, just hypothetically, if your class was asking you, hypothetically, doctor, what do you think is the most likely form of a cascading effect with the computers that would lead to truly artificially intelligent and artificially aware and autonomous? I would say automatically, obviously, the already autonomous drones that they're now launching, but other than that, is it video games? Is it going to be human-machine interfaces? Like they thought, as you said, 50 years ago with the chess, and took a lot longer than they thought for Big Blue, Deep Blue to start beating, the best Russian chess champions or whatever?
Human brain interfaces have a huge promise. We already know how to read individual ideas